welcome to Dear Katie, the podcast that amplifies courageous voices and real stories of resilience, healing, and hope after trauma. Inspired by the many letters Katie has received over the last 20 years, each week she interviews survivors, healers, and experts to honor their stories and explore the many paths to healing and hope. Before we begin, please know, many episodes of Dear Katie cover sensitive topics related to sexual violence, trauma, and recovery. Listen with care and take the space you need to take care of yourself. Your well-being is what matters most. Now, let's join Katie and today's guest for a conversation that matters.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Dear Katie podcast. As you all know, I am Katie Koestner, your host, and I'm so delighted to continue every time, new journey, new story, new survivor, new strength, new healing. So just remember, stop at any moment. If you need to take a break, come back, fresh air, take a walk, coffee, whatever you need to do, that moment of getting yourself back together and getting ready to dive back in. So you all are going to be so inspired by Dawn. I'm just going to read Dawn's little bio, but oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to hear the whole story. So Dawn Jackson is a justice-impacted advocate, a public speaker, and a survivor whose life is a testament to resilience and transformation. After serving more than 25 years in prison, she received clemency in 2024 and now uses her voice to uplift survivors of sexual and domestic violence. A wife, a mother of 11, and a grandmother of 22. Dawn combines her lived experience, education, healing, and faith to inspire others to reclaim their power. She is the founder of From Darkness to Dawn, name, LLC, and the author of the forthcoming memoir, Suppressed Secrets. She speaks nationally, reminding audiences their past chapters do not determine their future. So, oh my gosh, Dawn, welcome to the show.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, that's so much to talk about. If we just had to talk about each one of your kids, we'd be here till tomorrow. But let's talk about you for sure. Yeah. So where were you born? Tell us how it all started.
Sure. So I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Okay. However, I grew up in a small town known as South River, New Jersey. It's maybe 25 minutes away from New Brunswick. Anyhow, it was my mother, me, and my stepfather, her first husband.
Okay.
And that's where we started off at. That's where my story begins, my knowledge of what happened in that memory bank part. So anyway, we were living in Somerset. And I recall my stepfather, like I said, who was married to my mom, he had been in my room, a lot of times, it was just, I looked at him as my dad. Mm-hmm. And I did. And I'm sure my little brother did. And I was about 5 at the time. So I recall one morning him coming in my bedroom. And when he came in my bedroom, it was his finger over his lips, like, shh, be quiet. Mm-hmm. And at that age, even at that age, at 5, I knew something was wrong. It wasn't right. Because like I said, he had been in there, but this time it was different. This was completely different. Just the way he looked, the feeling itself. And just to put that finger says a lot to me to this day. So anyway, as he came over to my bed, and I don't even know why I was up early that morning. It was the wee hours. And when he came in, it was, be quiet, don't say anything. And mind you, I had no idea my mother was across the hall drunk. At that time, I knew what alcohol smelled like, but I didn't know she was drunk and high. So prior to my stepfather, the seed was planted before him, the seed of silence. And in our home at that time, even coming up in our home like that hours, it was what goes on in this house stays in this house. We don't talk about it. It was embarrassment for, I guess, my mother, because she, instilled in me to be quiet, don't speak, don't talk about nothing. If I did talk about something, I got beat for it.
Oh God, Dawn.
So basically what you're doing is...
You had a little brother? It was just the two of you?
Yes, just the two of us. We were against it. It was like the giants against the two of us, and we were little people. Yeah. 5 and 4.
Yeah.
5 and 4. So because you have already instilled silence into me, now you've given your husband an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Because some children will scream and holler knowing something's not right. And even if I didn't know at that point when he walked through that door, the fact of the matter is my stepfather walked over to my bedroom, to my bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I recall having a pink nightgown on.
Mm-hmm.
And he started fondling my legs, touching all over my legs. He put the cover, he threw the covers back first, pulled them back first, and then started massaging, caressing my thighs, my inner thighs. And my stepfather, he touched me that day. He had sex with me. Well, not, I won't call it actual sex, because what he did was he tore my tissues.
Mm-hmm.
So as he's trying to get inside of me, his manhood, I'm a 5-year-old baby.
Yeah.
I'm a 5-year-old baby, and you are a grown man. And you're trying to get inside of me, but because I'm so, if I can be raw, because I'm so tight as a child, I'm a virgin.
Right. Of course.
So that before he left, all I did was I looked over to the side of the wall and I cried. That silence part, I cried. There was nothing I could say. I couldn't call for my mom.
Mm-mm.
For what? So with that being said, I looked over at the wall and I'm crying, but that didn't stop him from anything. It didn't stop him from anything. But I guess the moaning because you're hurting me now, that stopped you. At that age, I did not know what, excuse me, how raw can I be, by the way? How can I just be transparent,
Oh,
if I may?
yeah, you can. Go ahead, Dawn.
At that age, we don't know what cum is.
No.
At 5 years old, I called it sticky stuff. That's what I always called it.
Mm-hmm.
So that later on, before my stepfather walked out my room, he turned around and he wiped me off with a sock.
Oh.
He wiped the cum off of my belly with a sock, like my pelvis part. He wiped it off with a sock.
Mm.
Before he walked out and closed the door, he turned around and he looked at me and he put his finger over his lips again. And I knew he meant what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, he wasn't mean. That's the thing. He wasn't mean. But I knew when he gave me that sign, that signal, like, I knew he meant what he said. So I didn't say anything. Later on, and I was so sore. I was burning. My private part was burning. My vagina is burning. I'm burning in between my legs. And I can't go to my mom. Why? Because she's going to beat me.
Mm-hmm.
I already told me to be quiet about things and be silent, but this was the very first time I was ever sexually violated in that way at all.
Mm-hmm.
Later on that night, my mother was calling me. I was sitting on my bed, and my brother was in my bedroom. He was on the floor playing with his little GI action figures.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting up on the bed, like, no, I want to, but I'm sitting there and I'm hurting. And my mom kept calling me, but I wouldn't answer her. And when she came to the door and she bust through it. She said, "You hear me calling you?"
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say anything. And I just looked at her. And she came over. She said, "You didn't hear me calling you." For whatever reason, she sat down on my bed next to me. And when I wouldn't answer my mom, don't blame me, blame yourself now, because you told me you've instilled silence in me and you've instilled fear in me, and they don't go together too well.
Mm-hmm.
So now here we go. You're asking me a question and I'm shut down because you always make me feel like it's my fault. And now I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed because I don't know how to tell my mom. I'm afraid of my mom. So with that being said, she didn't snatch me, but she kind of like took me off by my shoulder and took me off the bed and made me stand in front of her. When I stood in front of her, she saw out of her peripheral vision, there was blood on my bed. There's blood on my sheets. That's what sparked everything. She took me to the bathroom. She blamed my 4-year-old brother. She blamed me. She blamed the two of us of sexually touching one another. At age 4 and 5, they don't know about those body parts.
No.
They don't know what they're used for. So how dare you blame the two of us sexually touching each other? It's your husband. So when they got me to the hospital, my mother took me to the hospital, and the doctor, they came back and said that my vaginal tissues were severely torn.
Mm-hmm.
Diapers was involved. Diapers was notified, and then the police were notified.
Mm-hmm.
I went to court at the age of 6. There's a judge, and he's a man, and he's questioning me. I don't want to talk to you because you're a man, and you're going to do the same thing to me that my stepfather did. Or you're going to beat me like my mom does. Then it went on to my mom's living boyfriend after the stepdad couldn't be in the house anymore. So now he's fondling me. He didn't penetrate me, but now he's sexually touching me. My mother will leave us with him at night when she went out. So that you're giving these men advantage. I don't know if these men don't know me, which gives them advantage to do whatever it is. Hello? Oh God, you gotta be kidding me. Hello? No way. No, no, no. Oh my God. What happened? Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. This is not happening. So eventually we left Somerset and we relocated to South
Okay.
River. And I was not too far from my maternal grandmother, my mother's mother. So a lot of the abuse was going on that grandma did not know about. And after we moved into the home in South River, not long after, my mom's sister, her oldest sister, moved in with her two kids. And it was my first cousin. So when everyone was like out of the house or not around, he's a little much older than I am. And what he would do is when he would catch me by myself, I was in my bedroom, the same bedroom my mother was physically beating me and my brother, and at night or in the wee hours when she was drunk or high. So I'm in my bedroom, and I don't recall how it started, the day it started, but he started taking Vaseline, and he would put me over. He would make me kneel on the couch in my bedroom, and in front of the couch was a window that his mom, my aunt, used to always sit on just to look outside. So he would come in my bedroom and make me like lean over the couch, so it would look like my head is facing the window. And he would take the Vaseline and he would lube his penis up. He would put it in between my buttocks. Excuse me, you told me to turn this off. He would put it in between my buttocks, and for so long it went on. For so long it went on, and then it turned into him actually putting it inside of my rectum, my anus. So that started me trembling, and I would hold my bowels because in my mind, that's my cousin's penis penetrating me. That's a psychological, yes, that's psychological. So for me, anytime I ever had to use the bathroom, I hated using the bathroom when I was a little girl. I hated it because of how it made me feel, the shame and the disgust. And for the longest, I did not know. The only reason why my cousin stopped touching me was because I bled one day, and he never touched me after that. Now, now I'm living with my mom still. The school is calling. Why isn't Dawn in school? She's missing school. My grandmother's at the house now. She wants to know what's going on. We don't have a phone. So why isn't Dawn been in school? What's going on? There's physical abuse going on the grandma doesn't know about. There's a lot of sexual abuse grandma doesn't know about. Grandma doesn't know anything really at this point. So finally, my mother opens up her mouth and tells my grandmother, what my stepfather had been doing. I didn't go to school for about a week and a half to 2 weeks because my mother took a belt. Back in the day, do you remember them belt buckles back in the day with about this
Yeah.
big? So Diapers told my mother that her husband could not come back around me. My mother let him back in. After we moved to South River, she let him come back. So back in the day, diapers can come in your house anytime they wanted to. And at that time, diapers only removed the child that was being abused. Nowadays, they're taking them off. Thank God for that. So my diapers worker, I'll never forget her name, Suzanne Oxy. And she was the best. And she loved me and she cared about me. And my name, my government name is Dawn Tricia. She called me Dawn Tricia all the time. So she just so happened to come to the house that day. And my mother's husband was laid up on the couch. And she looks at my mom and says, "What's he doing here? He's not supposed to be here. He's not supposed to be around his child." So for years, people wanted to know, why did your mom let him come back? I don't know. I can answer that question. When my diapers worker asked my mother why did she allow this man to come back, my mother's excuse was so she could catch him. That's what she said verbatim, so I could catch him. He was already caught.
Yeah, what?
I'm a 6-year-old child that was sitting in a witness box talking to a judge. So he was already caught. The question is, why is he back here around me? So that's when the family started, okay, there's something going on here. My guidance counselor said to me and said to my grandmother, Dawn has to be seen. There's something wrong. No one knew. My diapers worker said you have to get her seen because this child constantly cries in class. I was in special education classes, not because I was slow, but because I had a lot of stuff going on. No, and I didn't know how to, if I'm suppressing it, I don't know how to, I don't have my mother to talk to because she's one of the ones that's doing it. So I held all of that inside. And then it slowly but surely, I went to a psychologist. Now I don't want to see a psychologist because they're men. They're men. I don't want to talk to anyone that's a man. I don't really want to talk to a woman because you know what? She's my mother. She looks like my mother. Everyone looked the same to me. And in my mind, as a child like mine, I'm believing everyone's going to do to me what one person did or what my stepfather did. My grandmother stepped up and said, I am taking this child. And she did. I went to go live with my grandmother. Before I went to go live with my grandmother, my step grandfather, who she was with for about 39, 40 years, told her he did not want me to come to the house.
No.
So my grandmother told him she was going to get a place for me and her because she had to take care of this child. That he had no clue what was going on with me. I'm taking my granddaughter, I'm going to take care of her. And when my grandmother told him that, he changed his mind. So now I'm living here with my grandmother. I call them my grandparents. Really, they were technically. Now, I'm near about 7.5 years old. I was staying in the living room. We called it the front room back then. So that's where I stayed. My grandmother took the let-out couch, and that's where I stayed. I slept. Not right away, but down the line. My step-grandfather started coming in the living room, and he was an alcoholic.
Oh, no.
He was a severe alcoholic. So when he would come in the room, in the living room, he had me sit up on the side of the let-out couch. And I'm just so tired. He would have me sit up there, and this is when I started learning how to perform oral sex. And I can't even say learning how to perform oral sex, but you're grooming me for that. And when he started putting his penis in my mouth, and I wanted to clench my lips and stuff like that, he would take his fingers like this so my mouth would open. And that hurts. That hurts. Someone to take their fingers and squeeze out of your jaw so your mouth opens. So that's what I did. And for the longest time. But here's the thing. As you continue to do, as these things continue to be done to you, it becomes normal. And it's not your fault. It was never my fault. But there came a time in my life where I believed this is the only reason why I'm here. This is the only purpose I have. My mother don't love me. That's how I felt. So I had grooming. My first cousin who I mentioned, he was still, when I went to go live with my grandmother, he was still touching me there. But like I said, the last time he touched me was when I bled. My biological father sexually assaulted me at the age of 11, and he went to prison for rape. Not behind me, but behind for what he did for someone else. Him and a friend of his raped, it was a white woman that they raped. And my father spent time. And I always wanted to know who my father was because everything that was going on with me as a little girl, everything that my mom was allowing, even though I was with grandma, I still needed my dad. I wanted someone to save me. And in the beginning, when I went to live with my grandmother, I didn't trust her either. Because like a child like mine, once again, I know what I know. So that's the way I'm going to live because I don't know anything otherwise, other than what I already know. And that's the physical abuse, the sexual abuse. And these things become normal to the point where you just turn them off.
So Dawn, how long I know we got to get to like more of your story, but so this was pretty
Mhm.
much constant sexual abuse throughout your entire
Yes, it
childhood.
is. Yes, it
And
is.
then tell me what,
I have to speed up though. But age
yeah,
13, I got
okay.
pregnant by my step grandfather. I got pregnant. Yeah. And I started running away from home a lot. A lot. I was causing a lot of problems. I didn't mean to, but I was running from something that was going on inside of me that I didn't know how to talk
Mm-hmm.
about. And then it turned to I had my first boyfriend about the age of 14. I got pregnant at the age of 6. I got pregnant again, got another abortion at age 15. Age 16, I got pregnant and I kept that baby and I had my first child at 17. But to speed it up, by age 20, I had my third
Oh
child.
gosh.
Age 20 was when I was introduced to
Oh
cocaine,
gosh.
and it numbed everything. I thought a man was the plan, was the trick for everything for my healing. Now I ain't got to worry about my mom loving me no more, the validation that I needed in my life. I didn't have to worry about no more. No, when I got a hold on to cocaine and what it did for me, I didn't care about a man anymore, really.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. And it was a part, everything that I was going through, it led up to that. And the age 26 hit, age 27. I had my daughter in 1999. This is my last child. And I called my step grandfather to find out if he knew where his daughter, not my real aunt, but his daughter, if he knew what the number of her hotel room was. That's the only thing I wanted to know because my mother was there and I needed to speak with her. When I spoke with him, he says, "Oh, yeah." He gave me the information that I needed. But before he hung up the phone, he says to me, "I need you to come on down to the house." That didn't sit right with me. Just like it didn't sit right with me when my stepfather came to the door when I was 5 years old. And you know the feeling. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So you're propositioning me. You're propositioning me to come down to do what? And I was still pregnant. I needed I needed money to pay off my child support. I had child support arrears. But I'm still pregnant. He says, "Yeah, I'll help you." I told him the price and everything was like 160. I'll help you. But fast forwarding, he said, "Listen, I'll help you from time to time." But I had no clue that he was already planning for me to have sex with him. That was the whole entire plan. "Yeah, I'll help you. I'll definitely help you." But the thing about it is, why did you need me to come down in the first place? The very day that this incident happened, why I went to prison at the age of 27. The day that my daughter was born on February 27th, my last child. And I called my husband that day and said, "I had a great day. I'm at the hospital. Court went well. I got visitation rights of the kids, my two younger children. And I'll meet you at home. We're going to go back and see the baby." The baby couldn't come home because she was still underweight. So when he comes home from work, we're going to go to the hospital. I never made it home. As an addict, this is how we think. I had a good day. I need to celebrate. I can celebrate. I deserve one. That one leads to this and it leads to that. I was using, I went to the liquor store and I was with my ex-boyfriend. I went to the liquor store. My ex-boyfriend took me there and we went to a park. Started drinking. I think on the third beer, that's when I said, "I want to use. I want to get high." He's like, "All right, I'll take you." So I called my step grandfather and he's like, "Oh yeah, come on down." He goes, I'll give it to you." When we were little, my step grandfather never put money in our hands. He never put it in our hands. He always put it on the table. So when I went there to get the money, he goes, "Yeah, you can have it." He gave me $40 total that day. Later on that night into the next day, I told my aunt, his daughter, "I'm leaving. I'm going home." But she didn't have a phone. So I went to my step grandfather's house, and when I walked in the door, it was nothing but you could just smell it, alcohol. Upstairs was my uncle, his son, my uncle. He's sleeping. He worked for the sanitation department. I told my step grandfather what I needed the money for. He goes, "Well, what you say you need it for?" And I said, "I need to go home. I need to catch a cab and go home." He knew I just had my baby, by the way. He got up from the table and he came around to me. He goes, "I haven't been with a woman in 4 years." And he was speaking of my grandmother. Okay. But then he leaned in to kiss. And I remember those days. He leaned in to kiss me. And I pushed him away, not hard, but I pushed him. Stop, granddaddy. That's what I called him. But he leaned in again and he kept coming. And I'm telling him, "Granddaddy, stop." So I didn't finish all my beer. And he's all right, all right. So he said, well, you want the money? Come on and get it. He's never told any of us to come on in the room and get it. Never. Not that I know of. He's never told me that. So I questioned it, but I'm like, all right, because I know I need this money. I'm not walking home. So as I'm following my granddad, he's in his room and the lights are off, but the TV, the glare from the TV is on. There's a little light, but not much. So as I'm getting close to the bedroom, there's an in-ground heater. And as I cross that, there's a closet on the left-hand side. But he turns around and looks like, come on. So it's, come on in. I said, all right, Granny. No. So that's when he grabbed my jacket. And he's pulling, he's tugging, he's pulling. And I'm trying to pull away, like, stop. And he said these words verbatim, come on, just suck on me a little. Come on, just suck on me a little. And before I knew, I had a knife. And the way that I was living, I had a knife. You know, my mother used to say, you know, you have to protection when you're walking by yourself. So I did have it. And I had that knife in my pocket. I always kept that knife in my pocket. And before I knew it, I took it out. And I swung. And I swung a couple times, but after that, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you after the couple swings what happened. But after all of that was said and done, the only thing that woke me up was the gurgling sound of my step-grandfather's voice. He was dying. He was dying. And the only thing I wanted to do, and this is where it leads to, this is just how bad it was my addiction. There was a envelope on his dresser. And mind you, like I said, all I wanted to do was go home. But people don't see it that way. They're like, well, you wanted money. You're an addict. You wanted money. I didn't have to steal. I didn't have to steal anything. But there was money on his dresser, the envelope you get from the bank, and I took it. And I left with it, which is why I was never charged for that. But I was charged for murder. And I spent 25 years and 9 months at the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility in Clinton.
Wow, Dawn. How, I guess the only thing I'm missing in that very horrific story of your life is, how did they find you that morning? Like, what happened?
Oh, no. What happened was I went to my aunt's after the incident, and my counselor just asked me, she's like, well, what did you do? I said, I was just walking around. I was walking around. My mother was with a man. I called him my dad. He was like my dad. Well, another. See, you hear this repetitive, right? This repetitiveness. She's had a lot of boyfriends, stuff like that. So, or my sister, you know, like we not looked up, but we looked at them as dad, depending on how long they might have been with our mother. Anyway, what was I saying to you?
When they caught up with you, the police.
I went to my mom's. I was walking in the park right across the street from where I was raised on Ann Street in South River. Right across the street, I'm just walking and I see the police and I'm just walking, mind my business, not even inquiring about like what happened over there. I didn't do any of that. I walked across the street, walked through the park across the street to my mom's boyfriend, and I knocked on the door and he let me in. He's like, you know, come on in. I'm not thinking of anything. Got on the same clothes. So then he, you know, invites me and he's like, you need anything? And I'm like, no, just to sit because I was tired. I had gotten high like all day long. It's only by the grace of God that I'm here today. The police came to the door and he said, is Dawn Wilson here? That's my maiden name, Wilson. Is Dawn Wilson here? And he says, yeah. He says, why? He says, I need to speak to her. So I got up and I walked out of the door, no problem. I just walked with the officer and he says, we need to take you downtown, talk to you. I went downtown. They interviewed me. This makes me upset because a lot of times I don't remember the interview itself. They kept talking to me. The only thing I really remember is waking up, and it's true, in a white jumpsuit with a hoodie in the back of it. I had no shoes. I wasn't given any shoes or anything. And it wasn't me turning myself in. It wasn't any of that. Someone had to say, well, there she goes right there or something, because I saw them. Perhaps they did see me cross the park. But I didn't go to them and say, hey, like, what's going on? I'm right there visual. But again,
No,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask Dawn, since I don't know your story that well at all.
Yeah.
When all this is going down, and I assume there was a hearing, like a trial, right? And so
There was no
there was no
trial.
trial.
There was no
How can
trial.
they could just
No.
convict you without a trial? I thought there had to, I'm so confused.
So no, you take a no, it was a plea.
Oh,
The attorney I had,
wow.
her name was Regina Sorter. Regina Sorter, she told me she came to the she came, might have saw her once or twice.
Okay.
She wasn't a good attorney. She always sent her detectives or investigators to talk to me. So I never really had the relationship that I needed to tell my attorney everything. However, she did find out that I was, sexually abused for a long
Hmm.
time. So the thing was, why wasn't this raised in court?
Yeah.
It was raised, but it wasn't emphasized. I have those in black and white. So as my attorney, you're not supposed to say to the courts, well, everything she's been through from the age of 5 or 7, coupled with
Hmm.
addiction, does not give her the right to do what she did. It doesn't give her an excuse. It does not excuse what she did. And the question is, what happened to her? That's not the question. The question is what happened to her prior to. I wasn't a violent child.
Hmm.
I never had fights, really. I wasn't loud. I wasn't chaotic. I was none of those things. What I was a lot damaged.
Right. Oh my gosh, Dawn, your story is just everything is wrong. Everything that is wrong. Every
Yeah.
single thing that's wrong in the world. And I guess,
And it's not to condemn. It's not to condemn. People are so worried about being exposed. I had to expose myself.
hmm
I had to expose myself in order to start this, what I'm doing right now, the healing part, because that wasn't easy for me. Do you know how hard it is to hold your bowels? You want to go to the bathroom, but here, it took a long time for me to turn that off. It took a lot of in-depth counseling, a lot of
when you
everything.
were all those years in prison, what kind of, I mean, probably most of our listeners have no idea what it would be like. John, the one thing I can share that I've never talked about with the podcast, when I was, made me think, like 22 years old, um, Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, Al Gore's wife, Tipper, she had this initiative to try and help women in prisons. Um, and so
Wow.
I was 22 or 3, and in Connecticut, a maximum security women's prison. I went in there and spoke. They were like, a lot of the women were survivors, most all of them. And so I was in there looking like this. I mean, not like this, like I'm 53 now, but I was 23, right?
Oh my
So, but
God.
I was just thinking about that moment and how little I even understood, and even just being inside and talking with women,
Yeah.
right? So I just was
Yes.
overwhelmed that day, and you're bringing that whole single day of my life right back to me in a heartbeat, because I never felt so sad, depressed, like awful. Like
Yeah.
this is so wrong,
Yeah.
because every
Yes.
woman in there had either tried to kill her perp, or was on the street from age 10.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was just the worst
Wow.
possible moment. And no,
Yeah.
it was just like, Dawn, seriously, like, and you lived it. You could have been one of the women I was meeting,
Yeah.
right? And it was
Yes.
just like they were trying to write me letters, and spelling was hard, and language was hard. I just was like, this
Yeah.
is overwhelming, and I'm someone who takes on as many causes as possible. But I So I guess
Yeah.
my question to you now, you also know I had that little like one day in the life of Dawn, right? And one day,
Sure. Yeah.
25 years and 9 months of experience. And I wasn't even, in a jumpsuit. I was there in my regular clothes. So I think what I would love you to talk about is, I guess one is, well, while you personally were there, were there any resources? Was there any talk about survivor support? Was there a counselor? Like, what was there anything provided to you or anyone else in that environment?
Yes.
Okay, was it good? Was it?
Not all the time, but it got better than it didn't. It like okay, it fell at the wayside,
Oh,
and then depending on who the person
right.
was. Some were there for a paycheck, some were there for their
Okay,
passion and wanting to help justice impacted
okay.
women. And on the inside, when I first got there, Katie, I was stubborn. I was afraid. I was afraid of finding out what was going on with me because for years I suppressed it, which is why that book is going to be Suppressed Secrets. I suppressed a lot and I didn't know how to talk about things. I didn't know how to articulate
Well,
myself. When
you
I got
did
to
a great
Coast,
job
I'm
today.
sorry.
Like that, you're so
Yeah.
poised.
It took a long time. There was a woman by the name of Pat Sparrow. She was a
Mhm.
counselor out of Flemington, New Jersey. And I was like, all right, I wasn't up for talking to anyone really. And I just wanted to, let me just do this time. And, it'll go away. It'll go away in here because I'm like, I don't want to talk about anything. I was on medication. Finally, I said, I want to get off this
Mm,
medication because here's the thing. I started pinpointing things. You were running for a long time and you're still doing it with the drugs they're trying to pump up in
mm,
you. You're still running. So I made a decision that I didn't want to take medication anymore. And the psych was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to take it and you can't make me. I have to be here, but you can't make me take that. So with that being said, I got off medication, I started losing weight, and I started educating myself. And I started going to groups. And then there started being Domestic Violence Awareness Month and things like
mhm,
that. And we got domestic violence counselors are coming in. And okay, let me take advantage of this right here.
mhm.
Pat Sparrow challenged me, and I told her my entire story. And I believe to this day the reason why I talk the way that I do, I got the outlet of talking was because she said to me, write your abuser and confront him.
All of them.
And so,
What are you talking
and
about?
so I,
One.
no, she was talking about some of them are deceased,
Mhm,
but there was one in particular that I was talking about, and that was my first cousin.
mhm,
She says, because she goes, well, you won't get to ask your father because he's deceased, your step grandfather. The ones you know where they are, write a letter, confront them because they can't hurt you anymore. They can't do anything to you anymore. You have the upper hand now. So I wrote him, and his response was, come on, we were just kids.
ah,
That was the
oh my
response.
God.
So that made it okay for you to have anal sex with me whenever you wanted to.
Mm,
And he doesn't know what that stripped me of as a child. And then to grow up, I have children now and I'm trying to teach them. And here it is. Nobody knows that I don't even know how to gut my bowels. This is something that human beings do on a daily basis. And you took that from
mm.
me.
I, Don, yeah,
On the inside, you study a
yeah,
lot. You have to educate yourself. You have to do those things. You have to start taking accountability. And that's the thing as well. It's not just about the education, it's taking accountability along with all the things that you are learning about
mm,
yourself, why you may have gone through this or that. You have to educate yourself, not stop at nothing. Once upon a time in special education classes, believing that I would never even graduate high school, I graduated high school. I have my associate's degree now. I am now studying for my bachelor's in social work out of Rutgers University. So there's nothing that you cannot do. It's up to you to do that on the inside. And if anybody tells you otherwise, no. They have to have those programs though.
right.
And if they're there, utilize
Right.
them. If they're there, utilize them.
Yeah, that's what
College is free on the inside. Utilize it. Get it.
mhm. Yeah.
Get all of it.
Yep. I mean, I think that's the thing is like hardly any women are violent, right? It's only when we
True.
have nothing else, like we have no other option. It's just
Well, we just passed the Survivors Justice Act bill in the state of New Jersey, correct? And I was proud to speak in front of the state assembly.
that's great.
And so now that bill has been passed.
Yeah.
But there's 4 points we wanted to talk
Yes,
about.
yes. Okay. Let's go. Yes, please.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let's
they're
go.
all your points were great. So for our listeners, I've been
Mhm.
asking all of our guests to kind of think of 4 really key things to leave you with, listeners.
Yes.
And dogs were
Yes.
amazing. So she's got them ready to go. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah,
I
no,
put my
you're so
glasses on.
good. Also, oh,
So
I
these
have
4 points.
glasses on. I cannot
Uh-huh.
wear them. I'm like, I want to wear my glasses. Okay.
All right. So I have to tell you about these 4. You have the four
Yes,
points,
I
right? So
got
I
them.
reclaim my voice. I said after years of being silenced, I learned that speaking my truth is the ultimate reclamation of my personal power. You, what I just said about education, that's where it started for me. And it started making sense. And I had to read and I had to research, not just what I was researching, but as I did the research, I was finding out Dawn, why Dawn was going through what she was going through. As I started finding out these things and connecting the dots, that's when the healing had already started, but that's the reclamation there. It's like that's the power in it right there. Now I'm starting to figure it out. Now I'm starting to put the pieces together. I'm not happy for what I went through, but I thank God that now I'm starting to get this education and find out that I don't have to run anymore. So the fact that I learned to stop running through education, it gave me back so much of my life. It did.
And look at your face,
It
like that you're
did.
glowing. I love that
Yeah.
face.
And I thank God for that. And I just want to let you listeners know it's power in yourself. You just have to take back the reins. People try and take it from you, but you take it back. Educate yourself. A lot of times it's not easy to, and we don't want to, but you got to educate yourself if you want to turn over a new leaf and you can do it. I did it so I know anybody can. Anybody
Perfect.
can. So now I honor my
Mhm.
pace. I recognize that healing isn't a straight line, and I give myself permission to rest without feeling defeated. It's okay. I'm still going through it. But once I recognize what it is, all right, let me tie my boots up, pick my big girl panties up, and let's keep it moving. Don't sulk in it. I did that a long time. It didn't get me nowhere. Someone instilled silence in me, but I refuse to say silent anymore. And that's a part of my healing. So I encourage you, listeners, get your healing. Get your healing. There's nothing wrong with that. Take it back. Get it. It belongs to you. It belongs to you.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I transform my pain. No, I seek my tribe. I survive by finding strength in others, proving that we are never meant to carry our heaviest burdens in isolation. Please don't feel that it's strange that you're going through something. You are never alone. Someone, trust and believe, you going through it, somebody else can relate to that. And as long as you connect with one another, allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to connect with someone else. You never know who you're talking to, by the way.
Mhm.
So as long as you continue to allow yourself to heal, you are on the path to so many other things that's positive for your life. It worked for me and it's helping me. But again, sometimes you ain't gonna always feel strong. I'm gonna say what it is. You're not gonna always feel strong. You're not gonna always feel like I don't feel like it today. And that's okay. But don't stay there. Do not stay in that. Don't do
Yeah.
it.
Yep. Don't get stuck.
Do not. And I transfer my pain, oh my God, by turning my scars into a roadmap for others. I ensure that my past serves a purpose greater than my suffering. I've always said this to my kids, and I say it even more now that they're adults. Don't find it strange when you're going through something. If you're going through something in your life and it's difficult, trust and believe that God has allowed you to go through that. No, I'm not a Bible thumper, but I'm saying that faith and education go hand in hand. They make a lot of sense when you educate yourself on your faith, on the Bible, on whatever it is. College, high school, doesn't matter. It does not matter. And my thing is, you have to stay prayed up. You have to want that transformation in your life. You can go and you can get it at any given time, but it's not always easy. But I'm saying, you just do more than stay encouraged. Just always have the strength and the vulnerability to want to educate yourself and not run from anything. Because I did it for a long time.
Yeah.
And that led me to prison. It led me to prison because I refused to take a step back and allow someone to help me.
Yeah.
But it led to prison. Yeah, it did.
I know, but Dawn, the more I think about it, I'm glad it didn't lead to an overdose. I'm glad it didn't lead to
Yeah.
prison. Saved you perhaps from more, right?
Yes, it did. It did. It
So
did.
it was
It
a
did.
massive time out, but maybe,
It changed my life.
yeah.
It changed my life. I'm not saying that it takes to go to prison for you to get it together, but listen, that was the plan God had for me. I'm not saying I'm happy about being molested. Everything that I've been through in my life has shaped and groomed me to be the woman I am today. It is everybody's on assignment. Everybody.
Yeah, and I think, Dawn, one of the most powerful takeaways, well, all of these were fantastically powerful, but I think,
Yeah.
too, there needed to be a you, right? There needed to be a Dawn Jackson.
Yes.
There needed to
Yes.
be a woman who went through everything you did and is now doing what you're
Mhm.
doing, right? Because only you have that story. Only you have that truth. Only you
Yeah.
have this
Yes.
particular narrative that is your
Right.
superpower, right? Like, it's like you think that everyone is crushing and using you, and yet look at you now. Like, I think
Yeah.
that your story is your shine, you know, on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
It becomes that you
Yeah.
can do anything when you've been that low and that
Say that.
smushed upon and that
Say that.
on and that it's
Yeah.
like, I just think when you have nothing left to lose, you become a superpower, right?
Right.
Then you
Right.
then you figure
Right.
out what armor do I want to grab? Like, let me go look in the closet here of all the superpower options.
Yeah.
Go get
Yes.
some.
Yes.
I'm just gonna grab some of this one
Yes.
and some of that one. I just think it's almost like you can say, I'm going to start right over because I've got
Yeah.
nothing. So now I get to start
Yeah.
picking what I
Yeah.
want. And I feel like you're
Yes. And if I may say before we
yeah.
go, like I was in that place and a lot of times it wasn't easy. And it was a woman by the name of Diane. I'll never forget her. I was going through a hard time in 2018, and my son, we found out that he had cancer. He was 32. He wound up passing, but she came to me and said, "Why don't you write Kim Kardashian?" For what? I didn't know about I didn't know about what Kim was doing at the time because I was so focused on what I was going through at the time. She says, "Just please." She goes, "And you told me you're a writer, writer." So I reached out to my son, the one that passed away, and I asked him for her address. And he says, "Are you serious?" I says, "Yeah." All right, Mom. The first address he gave me, it wasn't a good address because the mail was returned to
Oh,
me. I asked my son if he would go and see if she had another address, and so she did. Some months later, a producer reaches out to me and asks me if I would participate in the Justice Project. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" No, he was not kidding me. I wound up speaking to Kim that August, her and my cousin, and she was so down to earth and said to me that she received so many letters from me. I was fighting on the inside for a long time,
mhm.
and I felt like the courts weren't hearing me. And Kim and her legal team, Kim didn't come that day, but her legal team came. They came to Edna Mahan Correctional Facility in Clinton. And we sat down and we had a long talk about my story. And as a result of that, the Justice Project, it came out in April 2020. And I was so shocked when I came home December 18th, my sentence was commuted. My 30-year sentence was commuted. Prior to that, some woman from the ACLU reached out to me by the name of Rebecca, and I didn't know that her and former Governor Phil Murphy, they were all, like in cahoots in a good way. And the survivors, not the Survivors Justice Act, there's so many things going on right now. It was the Clemency Project.
Mm-hmm. And
it was for survivors. It was for women who had been sexually abused, domestic violence. And they wanted to know there are like 79% of women on the inside who are incarcerated that are in there behind their abusers, and they have been sexually abused and have gone through domestic violence. And they are serving 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years. Mine was 30. And the only way and the only hope that women on the inside, I'm speaking for women, is clemency.
Mm-hmm.
My sentence was commuted on December 16th, and I left out of prison on December 18th of 2024. And that May, I flew out to California and gave a commencement speech for Miss Kim Kardashian herself. And we all know who she is, but here's the thing. She's down to earth. She spoke to me, and she spoke to me because she has a girl. She has what, two daughters? And she's like, to hear my story, you don't put money, you can't put no price tag on that. It's awareness. It's saving lives. You know how doctors, I don't have credentials just yet, but I do have credentials. I have lived experience credentials. That's what I have.
That's credential enough.
And I'm sorry. Yeah, lived experience credentials, and that's lived experience expert. And my thing is, listen, I don't have to read a book to understand. Listen, I went through this. I lived it. And just to hear this person say to me, listen, I always believed that people on the inside were bad people, but to hear your story, every one of us has a story. I wasn't in there just to be in there. I have a story. And that story happened prior to me taking the life of someone, believe it or not, that I actually loved.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my step-grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
But here I am today. Purpose, everything that I've been through in my life, I went through it for the reason that I'm here. I'm here today going through that.
Absolutely. Dawn, you're a powerhouse. And we just got
and I need to get back.
I'm going to keep sending you strength to keep up all that good work.
I will.
And in the show notes, we'll try, if you have anything you want to email me just about what any of our listeners can do to help support anything you're working on, please let us know, okay?
Yes,
sure.
I appreciate that.
Of course, that's what we're here
so
for.
Much. Yes, thank you.
I'm so glad we got you on, and I can't wait to hear what you're doing next. And the book is going to be awesome. So we'll put that out there as soon as it's all polished up and ready for the press.
Yes, I did just become a Mary Kay beauty consultant though. So I'm trying. I did. I did. They're like, what? Yeah, I had a recruiter and everything. She says, I think you would be perfect for it. She's like, you. She said, because you love makeup.
Plus, you have great skin. So
thank you.
I'm sure you are now going to get to do everything. It's like you're done with this and on to all these other things. So I can't wait.
I have a conference coming up in June, keynote speaker.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my, yeah. If you could send me some pointers, I would appreciate it.
You're telling it. I think you did a beautiful job. And like I said, having given, oh my gosh, I think I gave keynotes every day of my life, practically, Dawn.
Really?
Yeah, I've only spoken at like 5,000 schools.
Wow.
Almost every day from age, like in college, I started speaking.
Oh my really? Oh, how blessed. No. I really want to do that.
No, you'll be great at it. And it's just a vision and having clarity on what you want to say to an audience, And I think the clarity you give is really powerful. So that's my tip on public speaking is you just think about who's in the room. What do you want to get across? Don't sell them $12 jars of jelly. People
Yeah,
are like,
yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah.
that's too many choices. I'm so confused right now. Like, but pick
Yeah.
your 3 favorite flavors and you put it out there. And if
Yeah.
people remember 3
Okay.
things from anything you said, you did a good job.
Thank
Yeah.
you. How can my family and friends
Oh,
hear
it'll be,
this? Like this
yeah,
just
I'll send you afterwards. But our listeners know you can listen on Apple, Spotify, like all the places podcasts are released. So it'll be on
wow.
every major one. And we'll even
Wow.
tell you like a few weeks before it drops, and then you can get ready to put it out there. Of
Thank
course. All
you.
right. Well, listeners, look at this amazing guest. Dawn is a powerhouse for sure in so many ways. So, and I would write down those 4 things she gave you into your journal because they were really good ones. Definitely, you could see the thread of all of the things we talked about through most every single guest. So, thank you, Dawn, for your generous
Yeah.
self.
Thank you.
And
All right.
be well, take care. And all of our listeners, we
You
are,
too.
as Dawn said, we need our tribe. We are together thriving and survivors. So take care.
Yes. Amen. Y'all take good care.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Dear Katie. These conversations are never easy, but they're always necessary, and we're so grateful you chose to share this space with us. If something in today's episode stirred something within you, please give yourself what you need. Whether that's rest, support, or just a deep breath, you're not alone. To hear more stories, resources, and survivor-centered conversations, be sure to subscribe and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to hear from you, so please leave us a review and share your feedback. Your thoughts help us create episodes that resonate with listeners. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.